A very good evening to all. Welcome to EduTap and welcome to this very special session with a very special guest amongst us. We have with us Mr. Abhishek Sisodia, who has done extremely well, who has secured a beautiful rank and a beautiful result in the recently announced results of EPFO, Enforcement Officer, Accounts Officer examinations. So first of all, welcome Abhishek. Welcome to EduTap.
Thank you. Thank you for this warm welcome.
Abhishek, first of all, I would like to introduce you to all the aspirants, all the students who are watching us. Abhishek has had a very, lucrative academic career as well as in the competitive exams. He has done quite well. Abhishek is an engineer. He has done his BTech from HBTI, Harcourt Butler Institute in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. He also hails from Uttar Pradesh in chemical engineering. And then he also has a work experience with a very reputed company, Tata Chemicals. For 1 year you have worked there, and after that you decided to go for competitive examinations, particularly the civil services examinations by
Yeah.
UPSC, right? And you also have appeared in the UPSC examinations. You also have cleared the prelims stages, and you also have cleared the stages for the SEBI and NABARD examinations.
Yeah.
You also have appeared for interview in the SEBI examination in 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so this introduction in itself, it says a lot about you. You have had a very good knack of doing these different examinations. So first of all, Abhishek, I would like to congratulate on this beautiful result. How are you
Thank you.
feeling? And how are you feeling? And how is this feeling now sink in? Has the feeling sunk in, or still you are, can't believe it in that stage you are?
Initial stage, I was not able. I was in a complete disbelief, but now, fortunately, it has sunk in.
Okay, so now it has sunk in, and
Yeah.
okay, and your family, your friends, who they will also be very happy about this result.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Because throughout my whole journey, whether it was UPSC or NABARD or SEBI or EPFO examination, my family and friends also have completely supported me. So it was all because of their support and love and affection I was able to do this. So they are all very, very happy.
Yeah, and they are very happy. First of all, Abhishek, there's this question, a very cliched kind of question that we
Mm-hmm.
customarily ask to every aspirant who has been successful in any kind of endeavor. If we ask you to, credit any person or any thing or anyone about with your success in this examinations, so who would be you giving credit to? Who would you be giving this credit to, except for
So,
obviously yourself and your hard work?
yeah. Sure. Sure. Uh, As I already told that during my whole UPSC journey, my family has also always supported me. In fact, my friends have always motivated me when I was in a demotivated state, when I was not able to clear any examination. They were there for me. So the whole credit to success goes to them, and also at the end, Almighty God is also,
Amazing.
because of His grace. I think because of His grace and mercy, I was able to do this. So yeah, there's a behind every success. I think there is a whole lot of family members and whole lot of people, and my journey
Yes.
is not any exception. There were many people, and I'd like to give them this credit.
Okay, so obviously, if you work hard and you get rewarded, that reward is obviously for you and your hard work. But there are a lot of people who have struggled alongside
Yeah.
with you. Okay, so as I understand, you have been preparing for civil services examination. You also have done well there. How did the EPFO happen? How did you come to know about these examinations, and why did you decide that you have to appear for this?
So I appeared for civil service examination for 3 times in 17, 18, 19, and I cleared prelims in every stage. But after 2019 attempt, I realized that I was lacking in answer writing skill. I was not able to present my answer in a concise manner or UPSC appropriate manner. That is,
Okay,
I was having knowledge, but I was not able to score marks proportionate to that knowledge. So
okay,
I decided to take a break and decide to analyze my skills in answer writing and where my shortcomings in answer writing. So during that stage, UPSC released this notification regarding enforcement officer. So at first, I was not knowing about this notification, but thanks to social media like Telegram groups, I came to know this notification. I researched about this job, the job profile, what are the career prospects, and found it to be very interesting job, very interesting career. So
okay.
that's why I felt this examination.
Okay, so you find you researched about this job
Yeah,
and as well as the organization. So this is a
yeah.
very important point. Many times the students, they are not very well aware about the job profile or the kind of organization they are going to work for. They just look at the post and they just want any kind of this job and they go for it. But it
Hmm.
is advisable that we first of all research about the organization that we are going to work for.
Yeah, obviously, if you're preparing for the examination, it's quite advisable to do that because uh, apart from all the things, it creates a lot of motivation.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, you have a background, you have a context of the job that you are appearing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, uh, but there is one thing. The notification, it came out in January 2020, if I'm not wrong,
Hmm.
for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the and then it got postponed twice, and then the recruitment
Twice it got
thrice it got
postponed. Yeah.
postponed, and then it got conducted in September 2021.
Hmm.
So 1.5 year, more than 1.5 year delay happened for this examination. So how did you handle that this delay?
If I say that I was reading consistently for this 1.5 year period, I would be lying.
Okay.
Actually, I was not very much consistent because when an examination is conducted, you get focus only when there is a date, there is a
Yeah.
target. It gives us a target. But
Yeah, you have
regarding
a
this,
timeline. Yes.
yeah, exactly. But regarding this examination time, for most of the time, there was no target at all because the exam was getting postponed and UPSC was not releasing the exact date when this exam was going to be conducted. So it was
Yeah.
very lethargic period. But thanks to other examination, as I told you that I was engaged in like NABARD examination.
Oh,
So
same thing.
I kept myself busy in preparing those examinations. But at the same time, I always devoted certain amount of time for this examination. It was always in the back of my mind, and when the date finally came out, I was totally focused on.
Okay. So, can we say that this exam, it got delayed and delayed, and there was more than a 1.5 year time for all the
Hmm.
aspirants who were appearing for the examination? Would you think that this extra time that you got, it helped you in your preparation, or did it hamper your preparation? As you have already told that it was difficult to maintain focus because there is no date. But
Hmm.
did this extra time, were you able to, simultaneously study a bit by bit for this exam?
From my point of view, I think it hampered me. It hampered
It
me.
hampered your
So
preparation.
much delay is not good for any examination because I this is my personal view that for any kind of preparation we need an optimum amount of time, not
Okay.
less but not more also.
Not
Either
more
of
also.
the thing is just dangerous for the preparation. It is not good for the preparation. Just we need an optimum amount of time. So in this case there was lot much more of time, and it becomes like as I already told you, like it becomes difficult to focus on the examination, and there are so many distractions. There was COVID period going on, so many
Yeah.
things were happening, so it
So,
was a difficult time.
would you think that maybe this extra time that we got, it makes it difficult to make a schedule or make a, time management? It makes time
Yeah,
management more difficult because you have
yeah.
other exams also to prepare for.
There are other examinations also. Plus, there is no planning, scheduling, planning. It all takes a backseat because of so much amount of time. And focus is already. I cannot stress less on that. Focus is not there if there is too
Okay.
much amount of time at hand.
Okay. So, as you said, there was a bit of uncertainty when this exam is going to be conducted. Obviously, you were also preparing for other exams.
Hmm.
In those exams, also, sometimes many students, most of the aspirants, they prepare for various different exams. They do not taste success initially in various exams. They get stressed. They are under a lot of pressure because of various reasons. Did this happen to you too? That there was a kind of this pressure that you have to get a job, or you have been preparing for a while and still you don't have this job. So, was there any kind of pressure or stress?
Yeah, there was such kind of pressure because, as we all know, we are in a competitive atmosphere. We are preparing for competitive exam, and when results are not according to your plan, according to your hard work, then it gets difficult to get going. There were phases when I felt demotivated, but yeah, one should I accept it as a part of my life. Failures are a part of my life, and instead of just sulking over them, I made them my learning steps. So I learned from my failures that where I went from, what were my shortcomings, and based on those shortcomings, I prepared a strategy for my future exam.
Okay, so if I ask you, what advice or what action points would you have for those aspirants who have faced, we would not call it failures, but short comings in their examinations? They did not get their result according to their expectations. So, what would be one or two advice that you would want to give these aspirants?
First of all, I would advise them to not look setbacks as failures. There is nothing like failure. In my opinion, it's just a social construct created by society, or a kind of duality like success and failure. I don't think
Okay.
so.
Yes.
From my experience, I can say that one should take as a learning step and a step towards success. The road to success is full of failure. So one should accept this as a part of life, as a part of journey. Second of all, the, the analysis of the shortcomings is very important. Why I failed
Okay.
in that examination, why I was not able to secure the cutoff marks for the examination. One should have a thorough analysis of that. Because generalistic expressions like I have studied less, this does not help. One should have a proper focus that, okay, I like in my answer writing skills, I get confused after seeing multiple objective questions. So one should know where I'm getting wrong, where I'm lacking, so that one can improve upon it and taste success later on.
Okay, so two very important points that I drew from this. That first of all, we should not be looking at this in a binary sense that there is either
Yeah,
success or either failure. You either succeed, obviously you achieve your goal, or you learn how to achieve your goal,
yeah,
how
yeah.
to improve. And secondly, that we,
And
in this
analysis is
examination, we
required.
have to make sure that whatever mistakes that we have committed, we are able
Hmm.
to identify those mistakes and we are able to rectify them. It
Yeah,
is very important. Very nicely you have summarized these 2 points. Okay, so now let's come to the examination itself, the EPFO exam. If I asked very bluntly, what was the strategy that you used for the EPFO examinations? A lot of subjects are there. There
hmm.
is a one entire component of general studies, which I
Yeah.
hope, being a UPSC aspirant, you might be quite familiar with.
Hmm.
But there were also some new components, like you are from an engineering background, you must not have studied about accounts and labor
Yeah.
laws and all. So how did you manage all these different subjects? What was your strategy first of all for the recruitment test?
So my strategy was I divided the subject into three blocks. One block for specifically for quant reasoning and English. So I given a SEBI examination, NABARD examination. So I think my preparation was decent for these three subjects. But I would like to suggest, but I find it that I found it very desirable that looking at the UPSC previous year question papers, like UPSC conduct many examination, for example, CDS examination, NDA, CAPF, civil service
Yes.
examination, for the matter of fact. So I looked at previous year question papers because the UPSC has a habit of repeating those questions in one format or other.
And then,
In specifically in quant reasoning English, they repeat those questions. It's a habit of UPSC, you can say. So I looked at like around 3-4 year previous year question paper of these examination like NDA, CDS to get the knack of this. And also because UPSC quant reasoning English is entirely different from quant reasoning English section that is asked in banking examination.
yes, yes.
In UPSC, more conceptual questions are asked rather than calculative ones. So
Mm.
I looked at previous year question papers and studied them. And for a QRE session, did not do any specific preparation apart from solving previous year question paper.
Okay.
For general studies, second block of my preparation was general studies. It included like freedom struggle, polity, economy, computer science, general science, and current affairs.
Yes.
So I had a UPSC background, so it did really help in this kind of preparation. So this section, I think I was most comfortable with and had most of the blocks ticks because of my UPSC preparation. And I followed just standard books which every UPSC aspirant will follow, like
Follows. Okay.
Lakshmikant for polity, Spectrum for modern history, nothing special there.
Okay.
The third block was the trickiest one because it consisted of accounting, industrial relation, labor laws, and social security. So regarding this block, I followed some YouTube platforms. Some free videos were available on YouTube. For accounting, I also read NCRT books, class
Okay.
11,
11th.
mostly class 11. Class 12 was, I found it that was not very much relevant for UPSC because it was much more relevant for SEBI examination. It had
Okay.
company law.
Okay. I would like to interrupt you here.
Uh-huh.
How do you decide that the relevance of any source material? How do you get to know that if this topic is relevant or not?
By studying previous year question papers. I
Mm.
studied the previous year question paper of APFC examination, enforcement of the examination conducted by UPSC in 2015, 16, 17.
Okay.
So from their analysis, I found that they are not much asking about the company law or the financial markets and shares, bonds. They were not asking about that. They were mostly asking about conceptual question regarding accounting. For example, trial balance,
Okay. The
balance
basics of
sheet.
accounting.
Yeah,
The
just the basics of the accounting, credits and debits, rules of debits and credits. So I just followed those basics with the help of some YouTube channel and NCRT. I cleared them. regarding industrial relations and labor laws and social security, this was another one tricky portion. So I again many random sources, but mostly YouTube platforms. Apart from
Okay.
that, many YouTube platforms. I think there were one or two videos from your platform too that were on the YouTube specifically regarding the theory of wages
Okay.
and theory of labor welfare. I don't remember the name of faculty right now,
No
but
problem. No
but
problem.
those sessions were covered. They were available on the YouTube. In fact, they're available even right now.
Yeah.
So with the help of these sessions and with the help of other platforms, I was able to complete those sections. But one point I would like to add that I made specific notes. I was not like listening to the lectures only or downloading PDF. I just made notes of them, all these sections, because these sections are very vast. I found that there are books, 800, 900 pages books regarding covering these sections. So
Yes.
I found that they are very tricky, and moreover, questions was also tricky. UPSC was asking tricky questions. So I did that. Further, for currents like labor law, there are four new labor laws right now, and previous
Yep.
labor laws. I used to read PRS legislative brief for new labor codes, and I also used Ministry of Employment and Labor Welfare
Their circulars, their
website.
releases.
Not their circulars, but they have a list of all the acts,
Acha, all the acts and all the
acts,
provisions. Yeah.
all the
Okay.
provisions, acts. So I used to read bare acts and made notes of them.
Okay. Would you think that, would you say that making notes, especially not downloading notes from somewhere, not reading others' notes, but making your own notes, looking at the primary sources and then making notes out of it, do you think it is important? It helps you better preparing for any exam?
Yes, certainly it helps for better preparing for the examination, because if one makes his or own notes, then it's my own subjective point of view. It gets ingrained in the brain. It gets ingrained in the mind, and one retains better those content. If we read from PDF and just we are reading PDF again and again, I don't think it is a very effective method. I found from my experience in NABARD examination, it is not very effective one. One can read the PDF, but after reading the PDF one or two times, one should make notes of it.
One should make notes.
Very concise, not too much detail, just keywords.
Okay, so so that you are also able to revise those things in your mind,
Yeah,
and then you have a very in a very crisp form. You have this that entire
yeah.
thing. After that, again, you will be able to
Because
revise.
in revision we follow we students, as student I found that there is a lot of procrastination. For example, we have to open the laptop, then we will see the
Yeah,
PDF, then we will revise 70 pages PDF. It's become difficult, and there is a tendency to procrastinate on that. So to avoid that tendency, I made a very crisp note of like 7 or 8 pages so that I can revise it multiple
it
number of
multiple
times.
times. Nice, nice. So, very important points that you have told us about. So, for example, you also belong from UPSC background, and you
Mm-hmm.
also have appeared for the UPSC examinations. So, would you say that all the aspirants who are coming from UPSC background, who have prepared for UPSC examinations, they can follow a different kind of strategy for EPFO because they already have covered these GS subjects? Let us assume
Yeah.
they have prepared well for the UPSC and they have these GS subjects covered. So, would you think if someone thinks that we can clear EPFO examination without accounts, without labor laws, without IR, only the GS subjects and English and maths,
Math.
it would be enough for recruitment test? It would help us qualify for the interview. Would that
Uh,
thinking assumption be
I
correct?
don't think this is a very correct strategy, because the accounting section, the industrial relations, labor law, social security, they cover like 40 questions. Out of
Okay,
120
out of
questions,
120.
one third questions come from this block. And questions are not very much difficult. In fact, GS questions are difficult. I found it
Okay.
accounting to be one of the, I think, most exciting subject in all these subjects. I found it very interesting, and questions were also, I found it very easy. So I think this is not a very proper strategy. One should follow a very balanced strategy, because UPSC has a habit of changing pattern. They can ask very
Yes.
tricky questions in GS, and in fact, and this section can be very easy, like industrial relations and labor laws.
Yes, and
Opposite can happen
obviously
too.
UPSC also has a background of conducting various examinations
Yeah,
containing GS, so they will ask tricky questions out of
yeah,
this.
yeah. So this is not a proper strategy. So if anyone thinks that he can clear this examination by covering just GS and maths and reasoning, I think this is not a very proper strategy. One should complete other parts of the syllabus. They are mentioned in the syllabus. So UPSC is going to ask questions on these.
Okay, so if aspirant from UPSC background, he wants to prepare for these subjects, accounts and labor laws, and then industrial
Social
relations and
security,
social
industrial
security,
relations.
how much time would you think it would take for an aspirant who is studying for these subjects completely out of the blue? They don't have a commerce background and they have not studied these subjects for any other examination. And how many hours a day, if one dedicates, how much time would it take, tentatively, according to you?
think the amount of time that one would require would depend upon the interest, his or interest in the subject. Like I find it accounting to be very interesting. So
Okay,
I was able to complete accounting in just like 10 to 12 days, reading
nice.
NCRT and just that platform that I mentioned. Apart from that, industrial relation, labor laws, and social security, this portion is going to take time because, as you know, there are new labor codes. But
And you have to
UPSC
learn a
are,
lot of things. There's a
yeah, there are
lot many things to
industrial
read.
relations is a whole new discipline. It is a whole new subject, and there are a lot of things. Like there are various approaches, the Gandhian approach, the Giri approach. Then there are
Okay.
theory of wages, theory of labor welfare. So it will take time. I think if one devotes like 4 hours every day, then he or she can complete these portions, specifically in 20 or 25 odd days. This can be
Okay.
done.
Okay. So
4 hours per day.
about a month,
Yeah, about a
we
month
take.
you can say. Yeah.
And we can include, if we include accounts, we would say that about 1.5 month or 2 months,
Yeah,
taking a
45
leeway,
days.
it would be there.
Yeah, 45 days.
Okay. And we must not shy away from these subjects, even if we are from UPSC background or we have not studied accounts. If we want to
Yeah,
conquer EPFO examinations, we
because
have to be reading this.
if one wants to clear this examination, these subjects are going to be our major scoring portion. These
Yeah.
are much more scoring subjects as compared to general studies. These are
Yeah.
much more.
It is comparatively easier to score in
Yeah,
these
yeah,
subjects. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. And current affairs, for example, is also a very important component for the exam.
Mhm.
What difference do you think the preparation for current affairs has as when compared to UPSC? And what are the sources that you used
Mhm.
for the current affairs preparation?
Regarding this particular examination, I found current affair preparation to be very tricky because current affair questions didn't resemble the banking current affairs. They were not asking such banking current affairs question, but at
Okay.
the same time, they were not asking the civil services exam prelims question. So
Okay.
questions were somewhere in midway. So one thing was clear that the standard sources that are there for civil services examination, they are not going to be helpful because they are specifically for civil service examination. They have a
Okay.
lot of analysis, lot of data that is not needed here. So some other kind of preparation is required. So I regularly followed the Hindu newspaper. I read it regularly, but I avoided making notes out of them. Instead of making notes, I relied on some YouTube channels. There, for example, there are many channels. In fact, your channel is also there that regularly covers current affair examinations on YouTube in the form of question answer format.
Question answer format.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think this thing and reading newspapers can be helpful in covering current affairs. I majorly follow these sources only.
Okay, so you read these newspapers and you
Yeah,
sometimes online you go and you read
online.
about current affairs and then you revise it through MCQ sessions,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
are
Revise.
there
Yeah,
available.
yeah, yeah. In fact,
Okay,
any current affair, any platform that covers current affairs in a concise manner, monthly, mostly factly, in a factly
okay,
manner,
in a
so
factual
that
manner.
can be pursued. Yeah,
Okay, so that can be pursued. So current affairs is done. We also
yeah.
have talked about GS. We have also talked about the accounts. Yeah, accounts, labor laws, and
Mm-hmm.
industrial relations. You told us that you prepared for these examinations through various different sources. So would you think preparing from these sources, okay, then you make your own notes, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think revision is? Or attempting mock tests, what importance would you attach to these two things? How much revision should be done, and how many mock tests? This is a very factual question that most of the aspirants ask. How many mocks should we give? How many times revision should we do minimum? So what is are your views according to that?
Regarding revision, I think that whatever notes you have prepared or whatever sources you are pursuing, I think that source should be revised 3 4 times.
Okay,
Like a
3
minimum basic because when you read it for the first time, you may be feeling confident that as I'm feeling confident, I've understood it correctly. But when question comes in the examination hall, and when there are options given, and UPSC has a habit of asking very closely related options. Options are so much confusing. In fact, in this examination, EPFO examination, there were many candidates who were very much confident of certain questions that yes, I've done it correctly. But when discussion happens, then they find out that oh, it was wrong. My answer
yes.
was wrong. So because UPSC is a very specialized body and it has got expertise in conducting examination, So
Yes.
they know where the aspirant is going to make mistakes. They
Yes.
deliberately put options that are very close, that are very confusing, and unless you have revised it ample number of times, you are not going to do it correctly. So I think revision at least 3 or 4 times, whatever sources you follow. In fact, sources are not that much important. Revision is more important. 3 or 4 times revision of your source is mandatory in nature for clearing any examination that is conducted by UPSC. And
Okay.
regarding mock, I would say that I took a mock from a certain platform, and I used to give a mock as a practice set to understand where are my shortcomings are, where lies my
Okay.
shortcomings. For example, if I'm not able to score very good in some section, say accounting section, so from that I know, okay, I'm lacking this section, and regarding accounting, within accounting, I am not very much understood the concept of trial balance, say for example.
Yes.
So once I knew this, I used to study again my sources, again search internet for more information on trial balance and to correct my mistake. So I use mock test in this way.
Okay, so you used mock tests not only as a source of practice, but also as a source of preparation also,
Learning as a
learning.
source
Yeah,
of preparation.
whatever you are confused in, sometimes aspirants themselves do not know that they do
Hmm.
not know this topic
Yeah, yeah,
particularly
yeah.
well. So you get to know and you can get to improve that. Okay, so we have talked about many serious things.
Hmm.
One question about on a lighter note, for example, so
Hmm.
many subjects you have to handle, so many things you have to take care of, other exams you are also preparing for. In addition to this, obviously, you everyone has some responsibilities towards families, and then there are friends
Yeah.
and a lot of things that we have to take care for. It all leads up to stress, it all leads up to pressure, and you
Hmm.
are preoccupied with various thoughts. What any activity you had or any hobbies you had, you used to freshen up, or to recreate your mind, or to just get re-energized and to start reading again?
Uh, there was no specific hobby that I followed, to be frankly speaking. But I used to talk to my parents, my friends, a 30-minute walk, or
Okay.
I have a hobby of reading and writing poetry. So reading some my favorite poems, my favorite poetry. So just
Okay.
simple things I would suggest to all those who follow, who are giving competitive examination and following demotivated somehow. Simple things I think will make you feel motivated again. So do things that I personally like to. I personally used to do things that I like. For example, as I told you, like reading poetry, some reading some book, some non-competitive exam book that I find interesting. I used to talk to my parents, my friends, my cousins. So I think all these things help. In fact, exercising, jogging, walking, doing yoga or meditation. I used to meditate also.
Okay.
So these are the things that I use. A variety of things I use for keeping myself motivated.
Okay, so whatever helps you at that point
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
time. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay, so we have talked about the recruitment test.
Hmm.
Now let's talk about the interview part, interview stage of the
Mhm.
examination. How did you prepare for the interview?
For interview, I took a mock interview from your platform, EduTap. And I think it was on 24th of November, my mock.
Okay,
So that mock really helped me much. But before taking mock, I made a point of reading my detailed application form that I had submitted to UPSC. And I noted certain keywords in my detailed application form. For example, my home state, my hometown, my education background, my job experience, and my hobbies. I made notes out of them. I also searched, for example, my hobby was poetry, so I searched on Google that what kind of questions UPSC asked in interview regarding hobby. So
okay,
anyone can find such kind of questions, and there are a lot of answers on Quora too, how one should prepare for your hobby. So I
okay,
take the help of this Quora platform and other online platforms. But then I
okay,
took mock interview from your platform, and the feedback was very good. And I was told about how to maintain my posture, how to answer, how to maintain my tone and my pitch, and where am I lacking in my detailed application form information, where am I lacking in other aspects of my career,
your
my life.
interview.
So I was given a very, I should say, very valuable and very fair feedback. In fact, my even my dressing, I got received from my feedback regarding my dressing. What was my dress, whether it was appropriate or not. So I think all these things really very helped me. After that mock interview, I did not take any mock interview. Just I used to revise all those things that were told to me in the mock interview, and kept on refining my information regarding myself.
Okay, so you would say that the detailed application form that we fill, the DAF that we
Yeah,
fill, that can be a very important instrument.
I think this
You
is the
know,
most important document for interview preparation.
Okay, so because you get to tell the interviewers about yourself. So
Yeah.
there's also, many people they don't really understand the concept, how the interview works.
Hmm.
Do the panel members, do they try to, interrogate you, or
Hmm.
do they get, upset, or do they get, do they penalize you for saying no to the answers, or for giving wrong answers? So first of all, do you think the panel members, especially for UPSC, do they try to make you comfortable? Do they acknowledge that, obviously you are nervous, and they try to make you comfortable? And secondly, how important do you think is to give correct answers, or would you think it is important to give correct answers, or it would be more important to be honest with the panel members?
This is a very good question that you've asked because no one discussed such kind of questions. I'm glad that you asked such questions. First of all, I would like to say that it's not an interrogation. It is not like a police interrogation is going in and you are a culprit. They make you very comfortable. It's more like a conversation that is going on there. And the second point is more like it's an adjunct to the first point only. Since it is a conversation, it is not required that you answer each and every question or you must be knowing each and every information.
Okay.
So they are very expert in taking interview, and they know that you are just a candidate, you are just an aspirant, and you may not be knowing everything under the sun. So
Yep.
they give you ample amount of time if you are able to think. You if they ask you certain question that you are not very comfortable or you may not know such question, so you can ask them for 10 seconds to gather your points. And if you're not able to answer that question, you simply have to be honest with them. In fact, in my interview, there are 2 3 questions I was not able to answer, so I asked them that I am not having adequate knowledge on such question, and I will definitely look into it. So such kind of attitude is required. It reflects your honesty plus your learning attitude too. And
Okay.
in my personal opinion, the interview is not a test of your knowledge because your knowledge has already been tested in the written examination. It is a
Okay.
more a test of your personality. So by being honest, you gives out a vibe that you are a man of integrity and you are fit to be an officer of the union government. So I
Yes.
think instead of showcasing our knowledge and showing off knowledge, how much we do, one should focus on showing the qualities, officer-like qualities like empathy, like integrity, honesty, dedication to the work. All these things are important.
Okay, basically you have said that it is a platform for you to show your, your character traits, your
Yeah, yeah.
virtues, that
Virtue.
how you are. So this is the thing that many aspirants who would be watching
Hmm.
us right now, they should be very careful about this. That, yeah, as you said, this is not a test for knowledge.
Yes.
You need not be giving answers to each and every questions, even if you don't know the answer, because the panel members being experienced, they would find out if you are bluffing or if
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
lying,
yeah. They are most experienced and they will find out in an instant whether you are bluffing or not.
and they will also penalize you for that rather than
Yeah,
penalizing
yeah.
you for not
No,
giving an answer.
yeah, they do not penalize you for not giving an answer. They penalize you for bluffing around.
For
Then
bluffing
you will
around.
be penalized because it is not an appropriate behavior for a potential officer to behave in such a way.
Okay, and you also, as you said, you told about dress code. Do you think the dress code, or the how you are dressed, or how you are conducting yourself, the
Mhm.
posture that you are in, does that also does that also matter? Is it also important?
Yeah, I think it's very much important. I was told in mock interview only, I was given a feedback that posture is very important because while answering, for example, you have to maintain some eye contact. It reflects a kind of confidence that you are confident in your own answer. Thus, there must not be so much hand movement. A little hand movement is okay, but not so much hand movement because otherwise it gives an idea that you are not able to explain yourself. You are
Yes,
explaining,
you are
you are,
trying too hard.
yeah, so I think, and dress code is also very important. There is no specific dress code there, but I would say that having a decent clothing, a decent clothing which is not fashionable or show off, just like a show off, have an appropriate dressing sense there. That is,
Okay,
I think these things matter. Posture and dress, what you are wearing, these things matter.
okay. So these are basically the first impressions that you
Yeah,
set on
yeah,
the exam.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So what advice would you have for other UPSC aspirants who have been preparing for UPSC or who have decided to prepare for UPSC, just starting their preparation or have been preparing for past for 2 or 3 years? Would you think that organizations like EPFO, the posts like UNO, they are also a very lucrative or suitable kind of jobs for these UPSC aspirants? Because many a times UPSC aspirants have this kind of a perception, or you can say a misguided perception, that no, we are only going to prepare for, we are only going to be IAS or IPS officers
Mm-hmm.
and these kinds of jobs. Even RBI or NABARD or SEBI, these kinds of jobs, they are not very good jobs. So what would you like to say about that?
I think this would be a very wrong strategy. It is like putting all your eggs in one basket, because UPSC civil service examination is a very uncertain exam.
Yes.
There is a prelim stage, there is a main stage. In fact, in main stage there are 9 papers, and
Yes.
if one paper goes wrong, you may not be able to make it to the interview stage. Some
Yes.
people may make it to the interview stage, but still they are not able to crack this examination.
Yes.
So don't think it is a very good strategy to just that thinking that I will clear civil service examination in one go or two go, I will become IS and IPS. Obviously, you should have ambition, you should have that dream, but should be practical also. And so my advice to the candidates would be to not think like that. To not This is not a very good strategy. Rather,
Okay.
one should also look for other opportunities, because ultimate motive is to serve the nation, and they are like enforcement officer. This is also a very good job, very good service, and you can also serve the nation in this way. You may work for the organized sector, unorganized sector there. You also mentioned about RBI, NABARD. In fact, these are very prestigious organization, and in fact, if you read the RBI notification, the RBI notification itself says that serve the nation, come to
Serve the
RBI,
nation.
say something like that. So obviously, these are a very prestigious organization, and if one has the dream of serving the nation, doing something good for the society, I think he or she, that aspirant, can also pursue such other examination like enforcement officer, RBI, NABARD, apart from giving civil service examination. This will be a very practical strategy.
Okay, so as you, we can assume that the preparation that we are doing for UPSC, obviously that preparation helps us for these
Yeah,
examinations
yeah,
also,
yeah, sure.
and you can, try your hand at different things. And this, do you think this also helps in your preparation? That if you are appearing in multiple examinations, so does this also help? Or many times some people might think that if I'm preparing for UPSC and I'm also attempting, let's say RBI or EPFO, so that means I'm not focused enough. So that means I'm not, focused for one examination. So is that thinking true or not?
I don't think it's a very true thinking. Regarding from my personal experience, I can say that my preparation for NABARD, CB, and UPSC, they all helped me in preparing for enforcement officer exam. So I don't
Okay.
think it's not like it's not. One should not think like it's lack. I'm lacking focus if I'm preparing for other examination. If you see other syllabus of other examination like enforcement officer, RBI, NABARD, there's a lot of overlap. So
Yes.
one should not think like that. I'm not very much focused if I'm preparing for like these examination. There's a lot of overlap, and UPSC preparation will certainly help, and vice versa is also
Vice versa
possible.
is also
Yeah,
true. So
RBI, if you're preparing for RBI, it might come hand in UPSC too, because there is a lot of overlap like Indian economy, financial markets.
yeah, there are a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
overlapping topics in between them. Okay. One more thing,
Mhm.
Abhishek. For example, let's say many people, they have these various examinations to prepare for. So, do you think it obviously it is difficult to manage your time and to
Mhm.
devise a timetable, how much time you are going to allocate for one particular examinations? If there is any advice that you can give to aspirants who are preparing for multiple examinations, how can they handle these different examinations?
For such candidates, I would advise that they should be clear what not to read. They
Okay.
should be clear what not to read, because I think most of the time is wasted in reading unnecessary material that is not required or that is not exam oriented, I would say. For this purpose, I think the candidates who are preparing for multiple examinations, say RBI, NABARD, and civil services, if they are pursuing multiple examinations, they should read the syllabus, read the previous year question paper, analyze them, and decide upon their sources accordingly and stick to those sources, instead
Okay.
of going to every each and every source that is there in the market, each and every PDF that is there in the Telegram group. For better time management, for clearing examinations, one should focus upon whatever sources he or she has decided and stick to that source and revise it continuously. I think that would be a more prudent strategy, and it also lead to a suitable time management also.
Okay. Okay. So again, you already have said this earlier also, that it is important that you analyze your performance, analyze PYQs,
Hmm.
completely know the syllabus by heart, and this actually helps you prepare for the examination. This is the
Yeah,
most important thing that you're
this
gonna.
I think that this should be the first step while preparing for any competitive examination, be it RBI, be it NABARD, be it civil services, or be it enforcement officer, or be it any banking examination conducted
Okay.
by BPS. The first thing one should do is to look at the syllabus, understand it, and also analyze the previous year question paper. After then, one should decide upon, I will read this source, I will read this book, I will do that. The first step should be this one.
Okay. Okay. And this approach, it basically is also helpful, very helpful for those aspirants who might not have, too much time on their hands. Maybe they are
Yeah,
working professionals.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
they might be
Okay.
working professional because it will help them to not waste their time. It is a
Not waste
negative
their
approach,
time.
I would say, because it will help them to know what I need not to read.
Yes, yes. What you can avoid, and what
Yeah,
your time is too precious for these
yeah.
examinations, obviously. Okay. So Abhishek, I'm must be very honest. It was really enjoying. It was really lovely to talk to you. A lot of nice things, a lot of inspirational things you have told us about the examinations. Obviously for civil services as well as for EPFO. Before concluding the interview,
Mhm.
there are only one or two small things that I will ask. I like to ask about you. First of all, if there are any suggestions or any feedback that you can provide to us, EduTap, as to help us help our students in a better way, help them prepare in a better way. So, if there is any suggestion that you wanna give us.
I think the platform is already performing very well, and I think it's very famous and on I can be as everyone can say. But one feedback I think could be regarding whatever I have interaction with your platform, it is on YouTube only. So,
Okay.
I can give feedback on regarding that. So,
Hmm.
also regarding mock I think was very good. Mock I think was perfect. It was to the point. The panel was very cordial and they gave me very fair and very objective advice regarding the interview, and it really did help me a lot. And regarding the platform on YouTube, your platform on the YouTube, and regarding videos, one feedback I can give is that uh, those videos or explanations can be a bit more elaborative, if I may say so. Am
Okay.
I allowed to
No, obviously,
say so?
we want you to be as honest as possible,
Yeah, yeah. There's a
up to a
session
certain
could,
extent, obviously.
yeah,
But yes, your all the suggestions that you are gonna give us, yes, they are completely welcome.
yeah. So, but they can be more elaborative in nature. I used to see that they were like 10 minutes. If you put a bit more elaborative on certain topics, for example, from my experience, it was like theory of wages, and I found it very interesting. It was very helpful, and I made notes of it. But I was like, I wanted to know more
No
about it.
more. You
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
know more. You
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
more.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So that is a very important suggestion that you have given us. And again, I am expecting that you already have cleared and cracked EPFO. You might as well be having targets for future as well, and
yeah.
you would obviously be serving in the EPFO organization, and you would also be like trying to go to some other place or achieve some other targets. Whatever you are going to do, Abhishek, I hope and I wish that you taste success in all of your future endeavors.
Thank
And it
you.
was very lovely talking to you, and the advice that you have given, not only to the students but also to the organization, we would hold it in a very high esteem.
Thank
Right. So thank you very much for joining us, Abhishek, and best of luck for the future.
Thank you. Thank you.